In this I will be explaining about all the type of petrosal nerves, lesser petrosal nerve, greater petrosal nerve and the deep petrosal nerves. So in the medulla we are having inferior salivatory nucleus. In the lower part of the pons we are having superior salivatory nucleus. Actually the parasympathetic supply is given by the cranial nerve 3, 7, 9, 10. So this inferior salivatory nucleus, it gives its parasympathetic supply through the ninth cranial nerve, that is glossopharyngeal nerve, whereas the superior salivatory nucleus, it gives its parasympathetic to seventh cranial nerve, and the Edinger-Westphal nucleus, it gives its Edinger-Westphal nucleus, which is present at the midbrain. It will give through the third cranial nerve, it gives parasympathetic supply. Then there is dorsal nucleus of vagus at the medulla through 10th, because it is the parasympathetic supply is by the craniosacral outflow, that is S2, S3, S4. Then the cranial nerve 3, 7, 9, 10. The third cranial nerve, it is associated with the ciliary ganglion. Seventh cranial nerve from the superior salivatory nucleus, it is associating with a ganglion which is present in the pterygomandibular fossa, that is pterygomandibular ganglion. The ninth cranial nerve, which is coming from the parasympathetic supply coming from the inferior salivatory nucleus, it is associated with a ganglia which is present at infratemporal fossa, and the ganglia is otic ganglia, and this otic ganglia will be supplying the parotid gland. So this inferior salivatory nucleus through the ninth cranial nerve, the preganglionic parasympathetic fibers, it reach up to the inferior ganglia, and from this inferior ganglia, actually this inferior ganglia, actually it exit from the cranial cavity through jugular foramen, because 9, 10, 11 cranial nerve exit through the jugular foramen. So this is ninth nerve, so it exit through jugular foramen, and so this is the jugular foramen, and this is present below the middle ear. So this is the middle ear, and from the floor of the middle ear, this preganglionic parasympathetic fibers will emerge, and it moves medially. They are having, so medially it is having a bony impression which is called the promontory. So there it will form tympanic plexus. So this branch, that is from the glossopharyngeal nerve to the tympanic plexus, this branch is a tympanic branch of glossopharyngeal nerve, otherwise called as nerve of Jacobson. This is a branch, nerve of Jacobson. And from the tympanic plexus, actually the middle ear and the inner ear are in the petrous part of temporal bone, and from through the hiatus of the lesser petrosal nerve, that is from the tympanic plexus, lesser petrosal nerve will arise and it will joins with the otic ganglion, which is present at the infratemporal fossa. So this is the otic ganglion. It reaches at the otic ganglion. From there, the post ganglionic parasympathetic fibers arise and it will go through the auriculotemporal nerve and supply the parotid gland. So, and this otic ganglion, it is suspended by mandibular nerve. Actually, the ophthalmic nerve, the trigeminal nerve, which is arising from the pons, from the trigeminal nucleus, it is having three branches: ophthalmic, maxillary and mandibular. The ophthalmic nerve suspend the ganglia, ciliary ganglion. The maxillary nerve, it suspend the ganglia, which is a ganglion which is present in pterygopalatine fossa, that is pterygopalatine ganglion. Actually, the pterygopalatine fossa has been dealt in detail in another video, because it is in front it is bounded by the maxilla, behind it is bounded by the pterygoid process. So there is a and there is a fossa, there is a pterygopalatine fossa which is having pterygopalatine ganglion, and the mandibular nerve along its course it suspend otic ganglion which is present infratemporal fossa. Actually, there is a relation between this pterygopalatine fossa and the infratemporal fossa. Lateral to pterygopalatine fossa, the infratemporal fossa is connected. That is, if a person is standing in the pterygopalatine fossa, on his lateral side, through the pterygopalatine fissure, he can reach the infratemporal fossa. To the medial side, he can reach the nasal cavity through the sphenopalatine foramen. So this is the pterygomandibular ganglion which is present at the pterygomandibular fossa, and this is the otic ganglion which is present at the infratemporal fossa. So on the top in front you can connect it to, so when you are standing at the pterygomandibular fossa, on the top front you can connect it to inferior orbital fissure. So actually the trigeminal ganglion which is present at the Meckel's cave, it is divided into three divisions: ophthalmic, maxillary, mandibular. So the maxillary nerve will enter through to the lateral wall of cavernous sinus, and through the foramen rotundum the maxillary nerve exit the cranial cavity, and it will go, and through this inferior orbital fissure it moves. So during the course, when after passing the foramen rotundum, it enters into the pterygopalatine fossa, in where it suspend the, so this is the pterygopalatine, so that was the pterygopalatine ganglion. During the course it suspend the pterygopalatine ganglion. So this ninth nerve, apart from the parasympathetic fibers, this is glossopharyngeal nerve. So it is having motor efferent, motor fibers from this nucleus, which is nucleus ambiguous at the medulla, which will be supplying the stylopharyngeus muscle. So this is the stylopharyngeus muscle, and it is also having the sensory fibers, and there is general visceral afferent and special visceral afferent, because it gives taste sensation from the nucleus of, this is the nucleus of tractus solitarius. From this nucleus of tractus solitarius, it gives taste sensations, sensory fibers, and this is the sensory. From the sensory nucleus, it gives sensation, that is touch, pain. Those sensations are provided by the trigeminal nucleus. This is a part of trigeminal nucleus. Actually, the trigeminal nucleus is present at the pons. It is having extension, a spinal part and a mesencephalic nucleus, that is extension to the midbrain. So this spinal part, the sensory fibers are connected to the spinal part of trigeminal nucleus. So this is the superior salivatory nucleus. So this superior salivatory nucleus, which is present at the lower pons through the 7th cranial nerve, the preganglionic parasympathetic fibers arises. So the 7th and 8th cranial nerve, it will be passing through the internal auditory meatus. So they will be arising from the pontomedullary junction. The 7th nerve and the 8th nerve, they will be arising from the pontomedullary junction, and this parasympathetic fibers plus this parasympathetic fibers plus the taste fibers from the nucleus of tractus solitarius, it will form the nervus intermedius, that is intermediate nerve. It is called intermediate nerve because it is between the 7th and 8th nerve. It is intermediate to 7th and 8th nerve. So it is nervus intermedius. So these fibers, it will reach at a ganglion, which is geniculate ganglion. Actually, this is present at the middle ear. So we are having middle ear on the anterior top medially. Medially, this geniculate ganglion is present. Actually, the anterior 2/3 of the tongue, taste senses are provided by 7th nerve. Posterior 1/3 of the tongue, the taste sensations are provided by 9th nerve. The posterior most part of the tongue, taste sensation are provided by 10th cranial nerve. So the taste sensation, if the geniculate ganglion, the cell bodies of these sensory fibers is forming the geniculate ganglion. It is having a central process and it is having a peripheral process. The central process is going to the nucleus of tractus solitarius, which is present at the medulla, whereas the peripheral process, it is going to innervate at the tongue. So from this geniculate ganglion, the preganglionic fibers, without any relay, that is without synapsing, without any relay, it will pass to the, so through the hiatus of the greater petrosal nerve, the greater petrosal nerve, it reaches the floor of the middle cranial fossa. In the middle cranial fossa, there is, so this is a greater petrosal nerve. In the middle cranial fossa, there is foramen lacerum. So it will, so the foramen lacerum is actually a misnomer. So the top is open but the bottom is covered by cartilage. So it is not a foramen. So this greater petrosal nerve will enter into the foramen lacerum and it will go to the pterygoid canal. And this is the nerve to pterygoid canal. By joining with the deep petrosal nerve. This deep petrosal nerve, it is formed from sympathetic postganglionic fibers which are formed around the internal carotid artery. So actually this is the internal carotid artery which is entering into the carotid canal and exiting through the foramen lacerum because the bottom part is covered by cartilage. Exit through the foramen lacerum. From this internal carotid artery, this is the pterygoid canal through which the artery to pterygoid canal, and it will be entering into the, it will be reaching to the pterygopalatine fossa where the pterygopalatine ganglion is present. So from where the deep petrosal nerve is formed, so it is seen as plexus around the internal carotid artery. So from the sympathetic outflow is from thoracolumbar outflow, that is T1 to L2. So from the T1 and T2 level of spinal cord, here we can see this is the intermediolateral nucleus. Intermediolateral nucleus or the lateral horn, that is the gray matter. Here it is involved in the gray matter cell bodies of preganglionic sympathetic fibers. Actually the viscera are involved in the lateral horn. So from there the preganglionic fibers will arise, but it forms synapse. It will ascend and at the superior cervical ganglion it forms synapse. At the superior cervical ganglion it's synapse. The postganglionic sympathetic fibers will arise from there and it will form plexus around internal carotid artery. From this plexus the deep petrosal nerve arises. So the greater petrosal nerve, which is the preganglionic parasympathetic fiber, and the deep petrosal nerve, which is the postganglionic sympathetic fibers, they will form the nerve to pterygoid canal, otherwise known as Vidian nerve, and they will give supply to the pterygopalatine ganglion. This is the pterygopalatine ganglion. So this is the maxillary nerve. So it is worth repeating that this maxillary nerve, it enters through the foramen rotundum to the pterygopalatine fossa and it will be exiting through the inferior orbital fissure. So this pterygopalatine ganglion, it will be providing secretomotor fibers, that is sympathetic and the parasympathetic fibers, to the lacrimal gland and to the pharynx, glands which are present in the pharynx. It also gives fibers to nose, nasal nerves. But the sensory taste fiber, it comes along with this descending palatine nerve.